We will send 10,000 to 250,000 cold emails a month and get them in the main inbox of your ideal customers to book you more meetings and get you more sales. Outbound technology has shifted, and those who master it make it a six-figure sales channel. And I will show direct proof that we've done this for clients as well as ourselves. So if you are a B2B company currently doing outbound marketing for sales, or you want to start doing outbound marketing for sales, we will set up this entire system for you and run it. This includes us setting up dedicated domains, email accounts for sending, done for you email scripts, including initial emails, follow ups, and nurturing flows. Done for you funnel setup. So we'll set up the entire funnel based on hundreds of campaigns and funnels we've set up and all the testing we've done. All the automation will be set up for you. Reporting, positive response CRM, or you can integrate this with your existing CRM. Verified lead data, we'll scrape all the data that's needed, right? So this is the names and email addresses of people within your ideal customer profile. Doesn't matter what your ICP is, we can find the data. And then consistent A/B testing to find the winning script. So this offer is specifically designed for B2B companies who can afford to spend 1.5 to 5K a month on high volume, high deliverability outbound marketing. So if this is not you, we respectfully suggest that you leave this presentation. Now, for the next part of this video, I want to cover expected results and case studies, what you can expect and how fast you can expect things to happen. Then also generally how we work, what is our system, how is it different, and then also pricing, of course. Now, in terms of the case studies here, the first one I want to show is Search Ads. This is a marketing company working with funded software companies. They closed 180K in annual recurring revenue, which comes out to about 15K in monthly recurring revenue in only 6 weeks. One of the ways we did that is we actually took some of their existing case studies and we found lookalike companies by leveraging AI. So we found companies that are very similar to these great case studies they have, and then we reached out to those companies leveraging the case study. So it was so hyper specific and hyper relevant that it was almost a no brainer for the prospect to book a call to at least kind of understand what it's all about. We also helped Alterius Capital Partners 4x their revenue. We got them from 15,000 bucks a month to 60K in 5 months. And one of the ways we did that is every time they booked a call from the system, we took the transcript and the meeting notes, we fed it to AI, and we actually asked it to output the most common objections from the sales calls. And then we created kind of a feedback loop where we could constantly improve the copies based on actual customer feedback. We also helped Coad Agency, which is a performance marketing agency, close 37.5K MRR in 8 weeks. We send 10,000 emails a day to e-commerce stores doing over $1 million in annual revenue. We helped Neurons Lab increase the amount of qualified sales calls for their sales team by 50% in 8 weeks. And we helped PizzaBox.ai generate 200 leads in 8 weeks. And after 4 months, it was 374 leads. This case study got featured by Instantly.ai, which is one of the biggest cold emailing tools. It got featured on their LinkedIn page. So maybe you're thinking, well, this is all great, but my offer is too saturated, or maybe you're generally skeptical. And we also sometimes hear people say that they've tried outbound with no success, either with an agency or internally. Now, I don't want to invalidate anyone's personal experience. It's completely fine to feel like that, but I would highly urge you to watch the part of this video which is how the system works. And I'll get to that soon. But I want you to check if you were actually following all the steps I mentioned. Because the thing about outbound and cold email is that it's very fragile in the sense that if you have deliverability wrong, or your data is inaccurate, or you don't know what you're doing when it comes to setting up copies, this can make the whole thing crumble. And so, with all due respect to my industry, I just see a lot of people that don't really know what they're doing. So I would recommend you watch that part of the video to make an objective assessment on whether or not you actually think you were doing it right at that point. And also, to kind of prove that, I can take ourselves as kind of an example of that, because we at Scale Sprint, we're in one of the most saturated niches there are: lead generation services. One of the reasons for that being, we do cold email, so naturally we want to use cold email for our own internal customer acquisition, but our competitors are thinking the same. And this is probably why you see a lot of emails in your inbox from lead generation agencies, is because their methodologies is what they use to get customers for themselves. But even with that said, I have a screenshot here of us collecting 418,000 AED, which translates into 114,000 US dollars. This is revenue we have collected over the past few months for our own company, virtually all of it coming from cold email. So if the system itself did not work, this result would by definition be impossible. And so therefore the system itself does work, and it can actually cross other channels in terms of lowering customer acquisition cost. because we spent no more than 5 grand to get this result here. But if this would have been with paid advertising, we would have been dealing with a customer acquisition cost of thousands of dollars. So one thing I do want to mention here now, obviously I think it's great, but if you are unsure if you have product market fit or service market fit, cold email will not work if you don't have these things in place, or if you don't have any case studies at all, or if you don't have a website, for example. So we highly, highly suggest that you get these things in place prior to engaging with Scale Sprint. I'm not saying you have to have the greatest product market fit that's been tested with 100,000 companies, but I'm saying that you need to have some sort of tangible demand for what you're selling, and you need to have some sort of, other people need to have bought from you in the past. There needs to be some sort of social proof. Now, if these things are in place, our average client will see 21 live demo calls a month. They will close on average 21.2% of those calls, and they will receive on average a 15.6 um, times return on investment based on what they pay us. And you might also be thinking, how fast can I see results? As opposed to other marketing channels like Google Ads, Meta Ads, YouTube Ads, where the algorithm has to kind of learn your audience, it takes time. With Code Email, you will know pretty much immediately if this is going to work. And I have a few examples here. Veritest Data Analytics, this is one of our clients. They booked 3 meetings in the first day. We also have Storganize. They booked 2 calls within 3 hours of launch. And here are other examples as well of how many leads our clients have been able to generate within the first few weeks of sending. So the short answer to this question is cold email can provide very fast results, and I would actually say faster results than other marketing channels. So how does the system actually work, and what do we do differently? So I believe cold email can be broken down into 3 fundamental parts. The first one is infrastructure and automation. So this is the backend and the funnel structure. The second one is list building. So this is the data for the campaigns, and then also script writing. With infrastructure, first of all, we've tried all the different sending tools out there. So we've tried HubSpot, Apollo, MailChimp, all these legacy tools where you can send emails. None of them compare to the new age outbound technology like Instantly.ai. The reason for that being, some of these new tools, they are solely focused on building strong cold email tech, while some of these legacy tools, they're not really following the trends and they have so many functionalities, they have other stuff they care about, so it's not high on the list for them. So here are a few reasons why Instantly.ai is better than these tools. It has the largest warmer pool in the world for sending accounts. It has very efficient and smooth email sequencing. It has AI spin tax generation and AI spam word checking. It has a built-in inbox placement tests for deliverability diagnosis. And anyone who tells you that you can just use open rate tracking or health scores for deliverability diagnosis, they're not telling you the truth. The only things that work here is one, measuring reply rate, checking for public backlist, whether your domains are on public backlists, and then inbox placement tests. These are the most reliable ways to know if you have deliverability issues, right? And instantly they know this, right? So they also do a blacklist checks for you as well. Um, Another thing is they have a master inbox for all the replies. So all the replies are consolidated into a master inbox, and then they have an AI inbox manager, which is very good. So you can actually respond to people using that. So whether you work with Scale Sprint or not, this is an objective fact. You don't want to work with these legacy tools. You don't want to, use HubSpot for sending. You don't want to use Apollo for sending, because you will be severely disappointed in the results. And this is based on me talking to hundreds of companies that run email. Now, when it comes to domains and email licenses, again, we've tried everything there is to try. We've bought licenses directly from Google and Microsoft. It's too expensive. It just doesn't make sense. We've used SMTP private infrastructure and mail servers. 95% of the providers, it doesn't work. They overpromise and nothing happens. Not to completely discredit this industry, but in the vast majority of cases, it's just not going to work. Also, we recommend that you try to avoid sketchy anonymous resellers. So these are the kind of the faceless companies where they claim they can sell you email licenses, but then they have terrible support. They don't help you when things go wrong. So the simple solution here is to use ScaleSprint's G Suite reseller partner for licenses. We've done the due diligence for you. We've tested all the ways of setting up email accounts. This is the best one. And this has worked for months and months and months. They have not let us down. So this is how we set it up for our clients. When it comes to the domains, we use porkbun.com. We would not recommend using Squarespace and GoDaddy. We've just had a lot of issues with that. They're not reliable. So porkbun.com is the place to go. When it comes to list building, obviously list building essentially means collecting names and email addresses of people who might be interested in buying your thing. And then you reach out to those people with your offer. Now, many people overpay for their data, and this is literally something we've seen. We've seen people pay more than what we charge for our whole service just to get a list of 50,000 contacts. So you really got to be careful that people are not making you overpay here. And there's actually three things you want to avoid mainly here. So one is overpaying for data, inaccurate lists, and unverified data. At ScaleSprint, the way we collect data is that we have proprietary ways of scraping data, so we don't actually overpay for our data. And this allows us not to push this additional data cost onto our client. And this makes us a lot more cost effective. We use a variety of different databases for the list scraping. So Apollo, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, PitchBook, Crunchbase. We use a lot of Clay. We use Google Map scraping, Google scraping, Senrose. So the actual strategy, the data strategy we use is tailored for each client because the database you want to use depends on who is the ICP, who is actually the ideal customer profile. So you might also be thinking here, so what do you actually do different when it comes to data? Do you do anything different? So I want to show a few things. The first one is regarding keyword searches on databases, because this is actually an art in and of itself. It's really hard to do well-structured keyword searches on databases. One of the reasons for that is, let's say you go on a database and you want to find e-commerce stores. So you put in e-commerce as a keyword. The issue is you'll get a lot of companies that are vaguely associated with e-commerce but might not be in e-commerce and not actually an e-commerce store. So this could be a software company working with e-commerce, but they're going to be on that list because they have the keyword, right? So you need to be able to know what keywords to insert and which exclusion keywords to insert. And we've tailored an AI model that is able to do exactly that based on a specific ideal customer profile that we give to it, right? So this is what we use to tailor our lists very effectively. But we actually go a step further. We also take this list that we get and we have an AI agent that scans the website of every single lead on a lead list to make sure it's actually a fit for you. So we have two layers here of pre-qualification. Another thing we do is that a lot of the databases out there, like Apollo, they have a built-in email verification system. Now, you don't need to know the intricate details of what email verification means, but long story short, you want to make sure that the email addresses you reach out to actually exist. Because if you reach out to an email that does not exist, it's going to bounce from the email server and your sending reputation is going to be lowered. The issue with databases is that they want to sell you data. So they show you email accounts that are catch-alls. A catch-all email is when it's not actually verifiable. It's not, you cannot verify if this email actually exists. And that's the issue, right? So they put this in the lists anyways, and it's gonna vastly deteriorate your results. And so what we do is we double verify things. We actually use an external tool to make sure that these emails actually exist to ensure a low bounce rate. So taking together all these practices, what you end up with in our case is an AI pre-qualified list with verified low bounce data, and this is a recipe for success because data is so crucial for good campaigns. The next thing is script writing. So the question is, how do you actually write good email copies that get replies? And here are kind of examples of replies we've gotten right. We know how to book meetings. And so a rule of thumb and a general framework we use, this is not completely like, obviously sometimes we'll not strictly follow this, but this is a good kind of rule of thumb here. So when it comes to the offer, the outcome should be crystal clear in less than 12 words. Also, you have to ask yourself, is there a number that they can visualize, right? Because you want to make it very tangible for people. Does it say when the result will happen? So is there a timeline associated with the tangible outcome? Does it show effort removed or time saved? Would a stranger say that's a no-brainer? When it comes to the hook, does the first line speak to a pain or desired outcome? Is it under 12 words and easy to read? You don't want to make things difficult to read because people are going to click out. Does it feel like a human wrote it? Does it pique curiosity? Section 3 is structure and tone. Is the total email under 75 words? Is there no big blocks of text? Because typically you want to avoid that. Does it use clear, plain language without jargon? We hear so many clients that want to use all these different terms, but often we tell them, hey, just let's remove the jargon. Let's just have a clear, plain email that speaks to a pain. And also, which kind of ties into this, could a 12-year-old actually read this and get a pretty basic understanding of what the value is? And then also, does it sound conversational and not overly formal? Because formal emails typically get ignored because they don't look personalized, they don't look real. Then section 4 is call to action. Is it clear? Is it easy to say yes to? Is it low friction? So, is it, hey, would you be open to exploring this? Can I send this over? Those are low friction, soft call to actions. In some cases, we will use hard call to actions. We'll get them directly on the call. It depends a bit on the situation. Does it match the tone of the email is another question. And then for the follow ups, have you written at least one follow up? And will these follow ups actually contain new information instead of just saying, bumping this up? In terms of onboarding and timeline, on day one, you will be asked to fill out an onboarding form and book a one on one call where we can discuss strategy. One day after the onboarding call, we will set up the email accounts and connect those to the sending tool instantly.ai. And when it's fully configured, we'll send you login details so you can directly access this platform. You'll be able to see all the inbound replies and all the analytics and dashboards. 3 to 5 days after that, we will write code email scripts based on our proven frameworks using what you've told us about your offer in the onboarding form. And then 5 days after that, we will essentially get the first campaign ready. We'll send you the materials and wait for you to say yes. And then 2 days after that, all the warm up is ready. And then we can pretty much go live on the first weekday. Meetings will now start being booked for you. You'll get notifications of meetings that are being booked, and we will start A/B testing and generate weekly reports for you. So, how much time do you need to invest here? Now, for the setup, it's about 2 hours approximately. So, this is 1.5 hours for onboarding and 30 minutes on the scripts and list approval. On an ongoing basis, it's about 1 hour a week approximately. So, this is like 30 minutes for the weekly check ins and then 30 minutes for Slack communication. In terms of the investment needed, as I mentioned in the beginning, you need to be able to spend 1.5 to 5K a month with us. We will custom tailor the exact pricing and the exact package based on how many emails you want to send and what needs to be set up and what sort of data needs to be scraped. Now, we have a sheet here that can sort of help you conceptualize the return on investment that we can give based on how many emails we send and what your LTV is, your lifetime value, and then also your closing rate. So if anyone's interested in that, we can send that over and you can sort of play around with that. So if you want to talk with me and you want to see if this could potentially be a fit for you, feel free to book a meeting with me. I'll be happy to chat with you. And thanks for watching the video.